Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal, a project channel here at YouTube, and welcome to, of course, the Friday review. Now today I am, of course, reviewing the 9th studio album from, of course, cult, new wave, or British heavy metal band Tokyo Blade. The album, of course, is titled Dark Revolution, and it was released through, of course, Dissonance Productions on May 15th of this year. Now, during all this introduction, there probably was one word that you rolled your eyes at, especially those who, of course, are well deep in, of course, Tokyo Blade's discography. You probably just went and rolled your eyes at the fact that I said 9 studio album. Yes, 9th studio album, because you just went and said, did he go and say 9 studio album? Aren't there 10 studio albums in their discography? No. And you probably should know what album I left out. That's the album that's titled Pumphouse. It was pretty much a Pumphouse album, which was, of course, Alan Marsh's band at the time. But I guess the label didn't want to release it under the Pumphouse name. Instead, he just wanted, I guess, or at least whoever was in charge at the time, just wanted to release the album and just slap the Tokyo Blade name on the album and just have the album titled Pumphouse just to see if it can sell anything. We probably did, and guess what? It probably wasn't very much. And if you look at the reviews on Metal Archives, well, it should give you a good fucking indicator that, well, it probably was just best left if they had not slapped the Tokyo Blade name on it. So, there, I got the name, I got at least my little rant out of the way. Let's just act like that the album does not exist in, of course, the discography, and just act like there are 9 studio albums. And right now, Dark Revolution is their 9th studio album. So there, let's just end it right here. Okay, so, Tokyo Blade. Definitely the reason why they get the cult new wave or British heavy metal tag is because they are very much well known for their very first 2 albums, which of course were the self-titled album and of course 1984's Night of the Blade. Depending on who you ask, they either are usually regarded as some of the best albums for the band, or some will even say that the first album was better than Night of the Blade, or some will say that Night of the Blade is better than the first album. But still, you will get people that say that will go, well, those are their 2 best albums in the discography, of course, of Tokyo Blade. Everything after it was pretty much fucking dog hooey. It was fucking dog shit. That's basically how everyone will go. Just basically, the first 2 albums are just the only thing good within their discography, or some of their 7 inches and so on. I mean, of course, before Tokyo Blade, they went through other various different names like White Diamond Killer and Genghis Khan. But still, it was, of course, the first 2 albums that are very much are highly regarded, and of course, in the new wave or British heavy metal camp. So, Dark Revolution basically right now also consists the second album since, of course, the original lineup or at least the lineup that recorded the first album back together. It's the first album since they're getting back together, which last year, or actually no, let me just go to here. Yeah, 2018. They got back together to, of course, record Unbroken, and this, of course, is the second album here. So there you go. There's at least all the little bit of the backstory on Tokyo Blade. So let's just get into, of course, Dark Revolution from, of course, Tokyo Blade. All right. So, Dark Revolution. Again, their 9th studio album, and yes, 9th official studio album. Like I've just stated before, I don't have to go any more fucking backstory. All right. So, this album, of course, consists of 11 songs here, and these 11 songs are, of course, our Story of a Nobody, Burning Rain, Dark Revolution, The Fastest Gun in Town, Truth is a Hunter, Crack in the Glass, Perfect Enemy, See You Down in Hell, The The Light of Soho, Not Lay Down and Die, and of course, Voices of the Damned. So, and of course, all of this clocks in at 55 minutes and 45 seconds. So what are my thoughts, and of course, on this album from, of course, Tokyo Blade? While it is very nice that at least the lineup that, of course, recorded the first album, and of course, the lineup that did record Night of the Blade, well, at least did before, of course, they kicked out Alan Marsh and replaced him with Vic Wright and released, well, that version, because the version with Vic, at least with Alan Marsh, got later released under the name The Night Before. Alright, so while it's nice that this lineup is at least back, and Alan Marsh does sound pretty good on this album. He probably hasn't, I didn't listen to, of course, Unbroken, but I will say that at least comparing between at least his past recordings, especially the first two releases, even of course judging the Night Before, I think he probably sounds the best he's did since, of course, The Night Before. The original version of Night of the Blade. I think he sounds probably just as good since then. Maybe a little better than his performance on the first album, probably because of I think he definitely had that while it was raw, but I don't think it was his best performance. I think his best performance was on the stuff he recorded for Night of the Blade. I think he sounded since then. The only difference is he isn't really trying to hit a lot of them highs, the high screams and so on that he used to kind of hit back then. But the thing is, it's probably not a bad thing, because to be quite honest, I didn't really think he was the best at doing a lot of those screams. Sometimes it really kind of just sounded really subpar. So I'm kind of glad that at least he doesn't try to hit any of that, because especially at the age that he's in, it probably would sound really even worse. So it's probably a good thing that at least kind of strained himself from doing that. But for the most part, well, again, like, I'm giving at least some of this praise. I think musically, I don't think it's nearly as strong as any of the stuff they probably did for those first two albums, especially, in my opinion, Night of the Blade, especially the stuff like Breakout and Madame Guillotine and Unleash the Beast, and of course the song Night of the Blade. I don't think anything touches any of those kind of songs, but for the most part, it's really not bad. The album does start off with three pretty good tracks on here. Story of a Nobody, Burning Rain, and of course the title track are all pretty solid tracks, and definitely do a great way of really kicking this album and keeping the pacing for at least for the beginning here. Story of a Nobody is a great opener. Burning Rain, while I didn't know what to think of this song at first, but really, as I kept listening to this album, at least the times that I did, it did start to grow on me. Same goes for the title track. At first it was a pretty cool track, but again, at the second listen, I don't know, it didn't seem to do much for me. But again, on the third listen, it started to really click with me. I think, again, these are probably the three of the strongest songs on the album. So I would say that's a good thing. But as the album goes on, Truth is 100 is good. Cracking the Glass is fine. Perfect Enemy, I was kind of like in and out. It's an okay track. It's got a fine, very upbeat, very almost commercial sounding. Maybe almost close to, what you were kind of getting in the 80s material, but it's still not bad. See You Down in Hell, now this is actually a pretty good track. At first, I was going to say it's not a Grim Reaper cover, but then when I look closer at least the title, it's See You Down in Hell, not See You in Hell. This, again, it is a great fucking headbanger. It definitely works great, so it's good. The Lights of Soho, Not Lay Down and Die, and of course, the very last track, Voices of the Damned, I think end the album very much fine. The biggest problem I've got with the album now, last week I reviewed, of course, Fourth Commandments from Oz. That album was 37 minutes long, and I think it was perfect for an album like that because of it. Really, the material on that album wasn't really as strong, but for at least 37 minutes, it actually wasn't too bad, and I think it worked in the album's favor. This, on the other hand, is 55 minutes. You almost would think that some of the very last three tracks on here which again, 11 songs, which is kind of the same thing with at least Force Commandments from Oz. But the thing is, those last 3 tracks are bonus tracks. You thought with this album, they would have probably would have at least made some of these at least considered bonus tracks and not really a part of the actual album. But the thing is, every one of these, the last 3 songs, or at least every these 11 songs, they're all part of the album. And the thing is, the album, it pretty much clocks in at pretty much over 55 minutes. And the thing is that, and most of these songs are pretty long at times. I mean, most of these clock in at 5 minutes. They barely even, there's not even one 3-minute or 2-minute song on here. It's all 5 minutes, and the thing is, it really gets a little tedious over time because of, again, these songs are not bad, but it just becomes so damn tedious. I mean, besides, but by the time you really get to at least the good stuff, you already you already are starting to feel the length of the album. And you're at the point to where by the time Voice of the Damned, you're like, all right, it's the last song here. I mean, I don't mind albums that are 55 minutes. One of my favorite albums is, of course, is Subversion from Ram. But I think that one album had a way of keeping the pace in some ways and keeping at least my ears at least glued to, of course, what they're doing on the songs. I don't really feel that with this album. I think some of these are just average at best. And for 55 minutes and 45 seconds, I don't think it does the album very much favors. And I think they really could have cut a few songs off this album to kind of at least really lower the length of the album. And I think it would have at least, if you at least picked me the 9 or 8 best songs on this album, I think you would have had at least a much better album in my opinion. So really, it's just not bad, but that's at least some of my criticism of this album is definitely on the length and of course some of the album. Of course, on August 26th of this year, Rubicon Music from Japan released it, and guess what? They added a bonus track. There was a bonus track, and it's titled Under Black Moonlight, and it's around 5 minutes and 4 seconds. I can't find the song on YouTube, so I really can't completely judge the song, but it obviously, since the album is already at 55 minutes and 45 seconds, you should take a good hint that now the length is now almost close to 60 minutes. So, and to be quite honest though, before this, I didn't really give a shit that the song is not on YouTube, because at this point, is it really going to add anything? Is it really a killer track? It's probably maybe another thing that they probably left it off. And to be quite honest, they probably should have left a few of these songs off the album to begin with. So, they are. I mean, this is a good album, but it's not a bad album by any means. But it's not great in many aspects. It's not an amazing album. It's just average at best. So there you go. There's my review, of course, of Dark Revolution for Tokyo Blade, and my rating is a 7.85 out of 10. And yes, the length of some of the album, and of course some of the songs on this album, really definitely kind of affected my rating here. I mean, at best, if they did pick, at least to me, in my opinion, the 8 best songs on this album, I probably would have bumped it up to maybe a 8.85. Maybe, or just a 8.95. Who knows? I probably, it's all about length and timing, and of course how the songs are. I mean, production also for this album is, while beefier, it does sound very digital sounding. It does have that very modern technology, computer technology, almost like drum machine sounds to at least the album. That's another critique for me of this album. But besides some of my critiques, it is not a bad album. It's still very enjoyable. It's definitely better than any of the stuff they released post Night of the Blade. But for the most part, I don't think it touches any of the first 2 albums. However, for those who probably have listened to, of course, Dark Revolution from, of course, Tokyo Blade, what were your thoughts on this album? So, Until then, I hope you all enjoyed. This is for Thrash Sam out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.